Hey, writers and creators. Are you tired of spending countless hours creating new content from scratch? I sure was. That's why I'm working on a game changing content database to supercharge my productivity. Hi, I'm Timothy Cortez, and I broker for two companies. I'm owner and CEO of my own company, Financial Family Values, and I'm an insurance producer for a World Financial Group. I'm working on a content database in Notion, and I want to go over what's all inside. So let's step over to my Notion database right now. Alright, here we are in my content database. As you see, all my best content is stored here and sorted out by the publish date. So what is the purpose of a content database? It allows you to store content like a boss, utilize content like a pro, and iterate content like a ninja. So what does all that mean? Let's dive into one of these. So right here, one of my first tweet messages did well. You are safe, you are loved, you are appreciated. It got 14 likes. That's one of my lower ones. And this one did pretty well, just for those 3 lines. So maybe I could say, it's been a while since I've used this tweet and I don't have any content ideas. I could go back and say, hey, it's been almost a year since I've used this tweet. Let me post it now. I can look at it and say, maybe I can improve what I did last time. So I can add an introduction and then a finisher. So here are 3 lines you should say to people you really care about. You are safe, you are loved, you are appreciated. And then finish off with some nice little filler at the ending, a sticky statement, just to finish it off. This is an example of how this works. So some of you might be wondering, how do I create a Notion content database? Well, I'm going to show you how I create one for my utility logbook. I also have a step-by-step guide here. I'll put it in the summary of the video so you can look at it later. So here's the first step. First, this is a blank page aside from the step-by-step guide and the title. So whenever you're on Notion, you'll see a little screen pop up and you'll click on this plus symbol on the left side. You'll scroll down through blocks until you find databases. From here, you're going to create a view, and this is going to be calendar view. Just a new calendar. And we'll name this right here from the title, content database. Just so it doesn't get confusing at all. You can also choose to hide the name if you want. I usually do choose to do that. And this is just where you're going to be scheduling your content. It's a good way to view your content and look at it from afar. But you're also going to create a second view. And you'll go with the basic table view. This is where the database actually is stored. It'll have 3 things: name, date, and tags. That's step 2 of the guide. Now these 3 things are called properties. And for step 3, we're going to click on the date property and we're going to rename it to publish date. The reason for that is this is the day we'll be posting our content, so we'll just name this publish date. Call it done. And when you go back to the calendar view and you click on content, you can add a new item. And whenever you choose a publish date, you can choose to include a time. And if that's viable for you, I would suggest using it. Right here at the top, I can change the time. Say I want to post content at 7 a.m. I can set that just as an example. And whenever you do that and return back to the home screen, you'll see that the time 12 a.m. is here, and I can change that easily from here as well to 7 a.m. like I put earlier. I guess I didn't set it. So now it's set. So that's an example of how to use the calendar view and to set times for your content database. So for step 3, we changed the publish date. Now let's move on to step 4. We're going to create 2 new properties. Alright, the first property, we're going to go over here to the end, click on the 3 dots at the end. We're going to add a new property. This first property, we're going to choose multi-select. And we're going to rename this property to platform. And what this does is it allows us to add options for our content. Say we want one of the options to be Facebook, we could do that. One of the options could be X, we could do that. It could even be YouTube. We can put that on there as an option. And whenever we create content, we can choose where that content is specifically going to go. And we can change the colors of these, of course. So that's step 4. Now when you go back and you go here, you can see that multi-select will pop up as a platform. You can choose the option now. So this is going to be on Facebook and X. For step 5, we're going to create another property, and we're going to call this property status. You're going to choose the select property, rename it to status. And then we're going to add 4 options. The first option is going to be not started. Then we'll do scheduled, published, and in progress. So there's just 4 different ways to tell how you're working on your content. That's step 5. You'll see that now when we come here, status pops up as a property. And when we choose it, we can now put this content where it is status-wise. It is scheduled because it is now for August 5th at 7 a.m. So I put the status as scheduled. That's step 5. And for step 6, we're going to add 2 properties. And this is simply to allow us to add links to images and videos. So the new property, the first one will be files and media. That allow you to put pictures. You can keep the name as it is. Call it done. And then we'll do one more property, and this will be a URL property. This allows you to link images by their URL, or if you have a YouTube video, maybe you can link its URL as well. Call that done. No need to change the name of those. We'll leave them as is. Now we're just about done at this point, but on step 7, we're going to add some things to filter the database, because the database can get overflowing with content eventually. So we're adding 2 properties just for helping with filtering content. You'll choose the checkbox property, and I'll name it favorite. And I like to use a star for favorite and call that done. We'll add another property. Use the checkbox again, but this time name it archive. And for that one, I like to use a picture of a little box. Call that done. Now these 2 properties allow us to check on content. Say I really like a content and I want to reuse it down the line, I can put as a favorite. Or if I'm done with content and I don't want to use it anymore, but I want to keep it for reference down the line, I can archive it. Now these don't do anything until you add a filter, and we'll go over that now. You'll see right at the very top of your database a thing called add filter. This is step 8. We'll click on this and you'll see a bunch of options pop up for properties. I'll choose the favorite by unchecked, and I'll add a second filter. This will be by archive unchecked. So now anytime one of these is checked, for example, this will filter out this piece of content and make it disappear, and it'll only pop up into an unfiltered area where favorite and archive are unchecked. So I'm going to create 2 new tables. I'm going to duplicate this table twice. One I'm going to call favorite and put a symbol of a star. Call that done. And you'll see that in favorite, I'm going to uncheck that and I'm going to turn it into checked. I'm going to go back to the table, the first table. I'm going to duplicate this table again. Call this one archive. Change it to a picture of a box. And this is specifically creating 2 new views. And I'll put the archive as checked in this one. So you'll see that we now have 3 new table views. One has favorite checked and one has archive checked. And then the normal table view has both of them unchecked. So you'll see this piece of content here. There's no name in it, but let me name it to go. Just name it go for now. So go is here as content. And I can go over here and I click on the favorite to filter it. So now there's nothing here in the database. If I go over to favorites, there's go. There in the filter. So I can find it easy. I can uncheck it to put it back into the normal database. This is an example of how the filter process works. All right, with all of that complete, we have these 2 new tables. That is actually step 9. You've created the favorite and the archive filter table. With all of these steps complete, we'll move on to step 10. Customize the database as you see fit from this point. Make any adjustments and sort the content as you will need it and want to find it. I consider this content database guide complete at this point for Notion. Alright, and this concludes our presentation on content databases. So what did we learn in this guide? We learned that you can store your content, you can utilize that content, and you can iterate on that content. I went over a 10-step guide on how to create a content database from scratch. So, would it be crazy to ask for a like, a subscribe, and follow along for more? I'm yours, Digital Success, Timothy Cortez, signing out. Have a wonderful day.